What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at, I want to say Earthrise, Deluxe class Smokescreen. Coming off, I'm recording this right after I record those Buzzworthy Bumblebee reviews, so that way I don't have to get him out again. Coming off the end of the last review. Hold on one second. One of the guns popped out of place here. I store everything inside of him. My brother and I will come up with creative ways to store stuff so that it's not just sticking out the top. So I'll show you guys that when I get to that. So apologies for that. So here we are. I'm going to try and get myself back into a more cheerful, chipper mood here. So here we have Smokescreen based off his G1 appearance. For the most part, he's got very minimal decals and stuff, which one matches the cartoon aesthetic where, you know, they didn't want to draw all that stuff on it every time they animated him, and two, works for the budget. So he's got painted red and white, and I want to say molded in blue all the way down. It looks nice. The stripes line up really well. Autobot symbol. These holes are for the guns, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but they even have some molding down in there to look like little vents. You've got the plug for the main gun. Smoky windows, which is better than clear windows because you can't really tell a whole lot of what's going on, and these windows are actually molded on the outside with these. I'm not sure if that's picking up on my camera, so here right next to the camera. Just hopefully you heard that. I'll be able to tell when I am done recording, but I heard it, so you should have heard it. But yeah, it's actually textured on the outside. You got a number 80 in a white rounded square rectangle shape. Gas cap back here. White on the front. Clear, I want to say clear plastic headlights. They might be black plastic. Let me see. Yeah, I think I can see some details inside of that. So I want to say clear plastic headlights, black paint on the white paint for the grille detail. All four wheels are pinned, and if they had just painted the tops of them black, it would have made it so I had no problems with the wheels. Some of the figures of this mold have this issue where the roof doesn't want to line up properly. Mine has that. Details molded on the back, exhaust pipes and vents, and a spot for a license plate, but nothing is painted. Not even the lights. Excuse me. We'll go ahead and get his weapons out of here, at least some of them. So the way I store his weapons is they got rattled around in there, but with his small guns, I'll just put them in there and then shut the door. So we'll put this one in here, and they moved through the middle while he was sitting. But just put them in there and shut the door. Excuse me. And they rattle, but they're in there, and they're not going to fall out at all. So that's the place you can store those. And then his big gun, before I put both arms in, I'll put one arm into place, then put his gun in there and put the other into place, and that'll hold his big gun in there. So we'll go ahead and take his weapons out. We've got his little guns, and then I'll transform his arm slightly and get his big gun out of there, and we'll put his arm back, and we'll go into the transformation proper in a little bit. But for now, the little guns are the same molded component. They've got ports on either side, so it doesn't matter which one you plug it into, but they'll go in here. For front of the car mounted guns, kind of reminds me of the Wreckers from Dark of the Moon. This one doesn't seem to be going in as far. Okay, it's this port. I wonder if there's something down in there messing with it, but he's got his guns, and then this big gun has got two ports on the side, two pegs, so you can plug the little ones into it, and then plug it onto the roof, or you can plug it onto the roof sideways so it's a little more flush, which is what I do, since these have their own dedicated spots in vehicle mode. And then when I get into robot mode, I'll plug them all together. if I don't feel like leaving these on his shoulders, because these are his shoulders in robot mode. So there he is in vehicle mode with all his weapons. We'll go ahead and get into some size comparisons. Alrighty, starting off our size comparisons, we've got the cube, the shiny Rubik's Cube. We've got our Gormagala statue. It looks nice. We've got our much too large Volkswagen Bumblebee from the NPM line. And I decided that for Wednesday this week, since I did a Studio Series Megatron review a couple weeks back, and then last Wednesday it was Dragoon's comparison with Skybreaker, I decided that just for the time being, this might be the last one, but for the time being, I'm going to do like a movie Studio Series figure on Wednesdays. I think this is going to be the last one for a little while, but I wanted to do it because this is the concept Camaro Studio Series figure from Studio Series from the 2007 film. And I wanted to show this mold off so you could see what I was talking about with his legs. Most of you probably have watched reviews of it already, or already own it, but if you're new to this figure, you're new to this channel and Transformers in general, I'll show you some of the ways that they made this figure better compared to that other Camaro Bumblebee, and if they had the improvements, they had the means to at least paint it better, and they didn't. So that's it for excuse me, that's it for size comparisons. So we'll go ahead and get into transformation next. Start off with transformation. I'm going to remove the roof gun. We don't have to remove these, so I'm going to leave those there. We'll go ahead and pop his doors open. There is a slot on his door that tabs into a peg on his hand, and there's a tab up here, but it doesn't have a designated peg or anything, so that's not part of securing the door in case you're curious. We'll pop his other door open. We're going to rotate his arms down towards the ground, like so, and then we'll rotate them out. And we're going to leave them up like this because when we go to plug the torso in, these little notches right here are going to peg into the torso. So we'll leave those up like that for now. And we'll go ahead and work on his legs a little bit. I'm going to rotate his head around now. Just to avoid some visible head syndrome, I'll turn his head around, but this is the way we want it to be facing. So his head's going to end up from basically sitting on top of the backs of his feet to ending up in his chest. So to get the legs out, what we want to do is pop these down. I don't know that they're tabbed into place. There's just this section of the bottom of the car that's kind of pushing past to keep them in place. So we'll push this all the way down his feet, and then we'll be able to straighten out his legs from inside. And that's most of his legs done. We'll rotate him at the waist. We'll separate his legs. There's a big old port. I think I'm getting some stress marks on that because of trying to wiggle it apart. And for his legs, you're going to have this flap here that you're going to rotate to fill it in. And then you're going to have this part rotate down just to act as a heel. Same thing on the other leg. Rotate down. Rotate the heel. There you go. So there his legs are all done. We'll go ahead and stand him up and raise the camera up a little bit because he's getting taller. Now for the torso, we're going to push this panel through with our thumb and rotate it down, and then collapse the torso down, keeping his arms raised up. We're going to collapse the torso down over his head and put the back, kind of locks things into place. And then there are these tabs that I mentioned in vehicle mode. They're not for tabbing the doors in. They're what the arms tab onto in robot mode. And you can, in the Seige mold of this, the wings just kind of went willy-nilly, but on this one, the mirror stops the wing at a nice angle, so just use the mirror to stop the wing. Rotate his arm back and then down, so that way you can get a shoulder upper orientated properly, operational orientation. And there you've got him in his robot mode. We'll get him looking straight ahead. So there he is in his robot mode. We've got his legs stable now. We'll go ahead and zoom in, bumping my mic around. We'll zoom in and take a look at his details. Need to raise the camera a little bit more. Head is molded in blue plastic, and it's got the face painted and the yellow on the horns painted, and then the eyes are a lighter blue than the head, so they are also painted. The chest is mostly just the car details, but this panel is blue painted red, so you've got that blue stripe coming through from when it folds down, and it actually looks kind of nice, just breaking up the head area. You've got the shoulder. It's just got greeble details, the wheels on the back, some blast effects, notches, some new weapon ports on his forearms, his shoulders. You've got detail on his chest. He's not got just a big hollow space under here either. They actually molded this in so that way it looks pretty cohesive. His thighs are white. He's got all the paint from the vehicle mode showing through. You've got ports here for your weapons. The windows are still scratchy. The back of the legs are just completely hollow. The side of the legs are hollow, but you've got some molded details in there. Coming up the back, his car hood, the top section, folds pretty flush to the back. No issues there. The back of the wings have molded detail just to give it some life, make it less boring. Like I said, his shoulder cannons can sit up here. This one's having trouble. Like this hole's got an issue. I'm not sure why. So we'll go ahead and take these off. And what you can do is take his gun, plug one on each side. You can have them facing so that this is down, or you could rotate it over since they're the same component. I can show you either way. You could have it so that it's like a fin on top. So it's your personal preference. To keep it from getting cluttery around the handle, I'll actually put them on this way, because I think that the little tab looks like a pretty cool stabilizing fin kind of deal on the top there. And then you could even put more weapons on, because they've got ports on each side because they're not specific. So he's got a big old gun now. We'll put it in his hand, and there he is holding his gun. We'll zoom back out here. I said zoom out. Thank you. And we'll put him over here, and we'll take a look at some size comparisons with him. For comparison, for starters, we've got our cube there next to him. The cube is going to be continuing its murderous rampage, because all these deluxe guys just look like the cube would squish them if they got hit by it. We've got the Gormagala statue. We've got, and I'm hoping that I've zoomed this out enough, push him back a little more, for our Bumblebee to stand in. There we go. Oh yes, that worked very well. So there you have the Bumblebee in robot mode. And then for the final robot mode comparison, just going to show something off with this too. We have our previous review, the Buzzworthy Bumblebee, Camaro Bumblebee. I forgot to show that you can take the port on his gun and plug it into his stand adapter for weapon storage, and his arm has a port also, so it can do the same thing. And I wish I had plugged it in, because it's keeping his hips from falling backwards, and he's actually standing better now that he's got a gun plugged into his butt. But anyway, there he is next to Smokescreen, so you can see the last review with the new review. Smokescreen's taller. It looks like a lot taller, and the car is beefier. So, you know, if I actually like the movie designs, I grew up with pretty much everything from Beast Wars forward, and I don't dislike G1 at all. I actually really like it because it's got its own thing, and I like the movie stuff too, but I think that this blows this out the water because this actually looks good, and this looks like a pile of kibble. So that's that. We'll go ahead and talk about my final thoughts on this guy. I like this mold. I had one figure from the Seige version of this mold pretty much, and that mold was really cool when I got it, and I think that this mold made some updates to it that made it even better, like having the mirrors to stop the doors at the perfect angle. The legs are pretty much the same, only much more stable. The legs, I don't know if it affected all the molds of the Seige version, but my legs were really loose and wobbly, and I can shake him and he's not really going anywhere. It's just really solid looking. He looks good, he looks cool. And so basically he is to the Seige version of this mold what he is to this guy. So just a similar concept as far as transformation goes with some fixes. So that's it for Smokescreen. I'll see you guys Wednesday for his review, just because it's going to be my last Wednesday review for a while because I don't want to run out of figures. I'll save Wednesday reviews for new stuff, but I really wanted to show this guy off after reviewing this thing, so I'm looking forward to that. And let's see, this is our Monday, Bumblebee's our Wednesday, and then I want to say Dinobot is going to be Friday's review. So I'll see you Wednesday for Bumblebee, and I'll see you Friday for Dinobot. Have a